What's up, guys? This is Dan Watson, learningcameras.com, and here we are beginning 2015. So I want to take a look back at 2014 and some of the awesome cameras we've been able to test out, and probably the cameras you should be looking at if you haven't purchased a camera yet and you're looking at getting one for the start of 2015. These are going to be the top ones that I've used in 2014 in a bunch of different areas that you should be definitely taking a look at. And you know, the first one I want to talk about, and by the way, we do have more information on these in the description below, as well as on the website at learningcameras.com. So if you check out the website, you'll get a little bit more information on those there, but the links are going to be below as well into the description. So the first one I want to take a look at is actually the last one I've been testing, which is the Samsung NX1, and that is the one I'm actually using to film this with right now. So you can take a look at the film quality from that. And I must say, the NX1 is one of my favorite hybrid cameras right now. If I don't know what I'm going to be shooting, or I'm going to be shooting a combination of video and photo, it really is such an awesome camera to have with you, and it's the one that I take in my bag right now when I'm going to be doing that, because if I'm going to be using video, great quality video, great, even good in high ISO environments. It's got a decent size sensor, APS-C. It pulls that off nicely. 4K video. It just had great autofocus too in video, so nothing to complain about when it comes to the video. You know, it's not quite a GH4, not quite a Sony A7S in some areas. However, there are some areas that it is even better on, so you can check out the review of that if you want some more information. But on the photo side, the NX1 produces 28 megapixel stills. You still have that nice size sensor in it. No, it's not the Nikon D750. Not that full frame sensor, but it gets you close, and it really is kind of the best of both worlds in splitting those differences. So one of the best cameras in 2014, looking to 2015 to be looking at, especially if you're into a hybrid camera. It's a little bit smaller and lighter than some of the others. So another one that I just mentioned is the Nikon D750. It's almost a perfect camera. You're talking one of the best sensors that has been in any camera. It has one of the best combinations of features and in the price range that we're looking at of any camera also. So you get a nice AF system, you get dual card slots, you just get a pretty good 1080p video as well with some autofocus in that as well. Not as good as what you're getting on some other cameras, but once again, definitely enough to hold its own on the quality of the video on that. You do have microphone in and headphones, and so it basically has all of the features that you must have in any camera, and basically combines it into one body. It's a little bit smaller than something like a Canon 5D3 or a D810, so really good combination of both of those cameras, and really honestly one of the most perfect cameras for the general photographer or even somebody who shoots video as well. Now, another camera is the Nikon D810. So I got two Nikons on here. The Nikon D800 was kind of a hit and miss for me. It had some awesome abilities if you were shooting landscape, needed dynamic range, ultra high resolution sensor. It was unbelievable in that areas, but you paid for it when it came to speed and, you know, large file sizes, which were a little bit bigger of a deal back then than they are now, because we have some nicer hard drives and bigger memory cards. So, but now the D810 has kind of resolved most of those issues, making it probably the best camera to get in this range if you were picking up a camera right now. Back then for me it was the Canon 5D3. Now I'm shifting a little bit more to the D810, just basically because they fixed some of those issues in the D810, and so you're now getting the benefits of that awesome high resolution sensor without any of the limitations that we had before. So Nikon D810 is an awesome camera, definitely wraps up with one of the best from 2014. Next on the list is some pretty awesome cameras for videographers. We tested the GH4 and the Sony A7S. The GH4 was my personal champion in the video market. It had some awesome features, 4K video internally, still pretty good when it came to low light, no Sony A7S or anything like that, but for that small sensor, it really delivered even a little bit more than I thought I would be getting from that smaller sensor. So the smaller sensor hurts me a little bit on the photo side, but for video, it didn't matter as much, especially when you get some nice wide open primes, or even use a Metabone speed booster with some Canon lenses on that. So that gave us the out of focus areas, the shallow depth of field that we're looking for, even from a camera with a smaller sensor. So it really does have all of the video features you could want, unlimited recording time, sub $2,000 price. Really a nice camera, great ergonomics, especially for the price, and one of my favorites for 2014 for video. Next is going to be the Sony A7S, and this was an interesting one. To me, it had a couple of little rough spots when it came to ergonomics. It didn't film unlimited. You still had recording limits, some little things like that that it didn't have with the GH4. You do have 4K recording, but it's not internally, so you needed a recorder. No recorder was available at the time. It's only coming out right now that'll record 4K by HDMI. So that wasn't even an option. It was still a 1080p camera for almost 6 months. So now is the only time you're going to be able to do 4K recording. So those were some limitations. However, when it came to low light performance, this thing knocked the socks off of anything else out there. No other camera is as good in low light, period. If you're going to be shooting above 3200 ISO, the Sony A7S is probably the camera to get. It is unbelievable. Up to 12,800 ISO, no issue for this camera. It really is a rock star when it comes to low light video quality. A little bit more expensive than something like a GH4 at closer to the $2,500 mark, but still a solid camera for a good price. The Canon 7D Mark II is another one that just came on the horizon here, and I did test that out, as well as shot a couple videos for some weddings on that camera, and that is an interesting one. It came in kind of on the low side for what people were thinking when it came out with a 65-point all-cross type AF system, even beating something like the 1DX on that. 10 frames a second shooting, even you get 1080p videoed up to 60 frames a second. Finally got that from Sony. Has a dual pixel AF system, great AF during video, headphone, microphone, ability to adjust both while filming. So it really is the best from Canon when it came to video. It was actually my favorite Canon to shoot with, even though I've got the 5D3 and the 70D. I love the 7D Mark II for video from Canon. Doesn't quite compete with some of the other cameras that we're using right now with the GH4 A7S, but if you're going to be shooting Sony, or if you're going to be shooting Canon, it's a good one for video. But the main focus for this is going to be for wildlife and sports photographers, anything in that range where you need high frames per second, tons of focus points throughout the frame. It's got dual card slots, rugged build quality. It really is an awesome camera if you're shooting that. This was traditionally a market that you needed to spend $5,000 to $6,000 to be able to get a camera that held its own in that, and now you're able to do it with 1,800 bucks. So really a nice camera from that. Great quality in low light too. I didn't have any issues pushing this up past 6400 ISO. So not bad at all, especially when you're considering this is not a full frame camera. This is an APS-C camera, and some of that leads to an advantage when you're shooting wildlife or sports, because you're able to get a little bit more in to your subject that way, and it might be more affordable to pick up some f2.8 lenses for this, whereas picking up maybe a 400 f2.8 lens was unaffordable, but a 300 f2.8 or a 70-200 f2.8 might be affordable. Throwing that on the 7D Mark II instead of having to put 300 or 400 millimeter f2.8 on the something like a 1DX or a Nikon D4 is going to be a good way out if you're looking for sports and wildlife on the cheap. I can see even pros picking this camera up and shooting quite a bit. It is an excellent camera for that. Even for weddings, anything like that, anything when you're talking about those live environments where focus is critical, speed is important. It really is a great all-around camera with your weather sealing, built like a pro camera, and you're able to pull it off for under 2,000 bucks. So I even prefer it as a wedding camera to something like the 6D. So great all-around camera, nothing to complain about on that for the most part. It didn't have anything pushing the limits when it came to video, but it was a good all-around Canon camera from that. Now, another kind of surprise one that you didn't hear as much from is the Sony a6000. And this is a mirrorless camera, a little bit more on the cheaper side. Didn't get as much press, but honestly, if you need a camera under 600 bucks, this is one of the ones that I'd be looking at right now. It has great quality from a 24 megapixel sensor. It has decent AF, one of the best from a mirrorless camera at all. And you're really going to be looking at a good quality system, APS-C sensor, not bad in low light at all. So you're getting a lot of camera for the money. This is a camera and a segment that's going to be taking us to the next level in 2015. So definitely something to consider on that. There were a lot of other cameras kind of in this. I tested the LX100. The A6000 just, to me, is a more complete camera. It didn't push too much of it didn't push any of the technology limits too much, but it really did offer a lot for the money, and you're getting a good quality camera, good quality sensor. all for under 600 bucks. So really a good way to go, and a nice big sensor in that as well. So that kind of wraps up the things for 2014. As we head into 2015, we'll have to see what kind of cameras and lenses come out this year. And once again, you can check out more information at learningcameras.com at the website. Also hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We're on all of those if you want to. Comment in the forums of your favorite camera. Let me know what your favorites are of the year. And as we head into 2015, we'll have to see what camera manufacturers can give us. And we're hoping for some good cameras to be coming our way. And thanks for watching, and we'll see what comes our way coming soon.